Hey guys, if you drive a BMW, then you know how much it costs to keep one of these on the road. And especially if you have a nice one like us or it's wrapped or anything else, you want to keep it moving and keep it out there so everyone can take a look at it. But I ran into a problem today that almost every BMW is going to have to go through, especially on these E46 and older. Now, this is definitely specifically for the M54 engine, but can be used for any engines. And I'm going to tell you what happened. I was driving down the street and all of a sudden my car went into limp mode. What does that mean? It means I had no power and some of the lights started coming on. It felt like it was misfiring, it was making pop noises, and I barely got the car home. Thank God it was only a half a mile down the street. But if you take the car to the dealership, you are going to have to come out with thousands. I'm going to show you right now a common problem that kills BMWs, people's pockets, so you don't ever have to do it again. Let's get this work done. I did the codes before I did anything else, and guess what happens? It came up with misfire, and oxygen sensor. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so it's not getting air or it's not getting some fuel or something electronic intermittent is going on. All the most terrible things came up into my mind, and all I thought was BMW, it's gonna cost me a lot of money. So I just let it sit for a couple of days so I could take a rational look at it. I came out today, I opened the hood, and I was like, let me just look at the coil packs and look at a couple of things and see what's going on. Well, guess what? There is a common problem with BMW, and I'm gonna show you what it is. So let's look at this extra M54 that we have in the shop over here. This M54 has the intake on it right here in the engine. And this is the intake that goes to the mass airflow, and it goes to the, you got the throttle body here, then this elbow plenum, then the mass airflow, and then your filter. Well, you see this right here? All these cracks right here where this plastic is kind of really rotten. This happens on all BMWs. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just a bad design or if it's under pressure or what it is, but when air goes in and out of your engine here, past the mass airflow sensor, so when air comes into the mass airflow sensor here, it gets a reading. Then it goes up here to the throttle body and tells, electronic drive-by-wire, dump this much gas because the pedal's open the butterfly for this much airflow. But when air sneaks through here into the intake and back up through, it bypasses the mass airflow. Now you have more air or less air than what the meter is supposed to be saying that was right here. And that's going to cause you to get a lot of limp mode and misfires because you have more or less fuel going into what the computer thinks is happening. So when we're coming up to the E46 engine, I noticed that this was down a lot further than it used to be. It used to hold itself up like this, but it didn't have a plate on it. And a lot of times when you get a kit, it'll have like a plate that bolts to this and then bolts to a piece of the car or a shield or something like that. I just put one on here that I had. I didn't put a bolt on it. So this could have been partly my problem, but it's a lot BMW's problem. So this is the mass airflow sensor here. Air goes in, gets a reading, and then tells your throttle body how to work and how much for your gas to pump through the pulsating of the injectors. Now, when everything thinks that it's working right on the computer, then your car's running good. But what happens when you get this? A massive hole in the tube here. So you just got a reading for air here, but guess what? All this air is flying outside the car now. You're not getting any of this. And this is just sucking in dirty air past the filter. So I was getting all kind of misfires and everything just from this. So what are we going to do? We're going to tear this tube off and we're going to look for another one that we can put in here, or we're going to have to order another piece because you just saw on the other engine that that one's broken too. So this is a common BMW thing. So let's get this off right here. Just a couple of small worm clips and see what we can do to try to get this thing back on the road. So you know that I like to fix things that to use other parts, fix things, kind of get things for free, tweak stuff. I don't want to just buy the original. I'm just not that dude. I like to save money so that I have more money to spend for toys. So you should go online and buy this piece. Let's say it's $30 and then just put it back on. You won't have any more problem once you get this piece back on. I am going to manufacture this piece because I've got all these little tubes and stuff. So I'm just going to make my own because I'm not going to buy this from BMW when I have the exact same thing. And I have an aftermarket filter not even going into the box anyway that's connected to their mass airflow sensor. So whether I'm going to their pipe or I'm going to my pipe really doesn't make any difference. Now, I would rather have a plastic pipe like this or a piece of aluminum pipe than this rubber because these rubbers all go bad. But if you feel more comfortable getting OEM, then do that. Get OEM. This car is a 2006. It's 2025. The part is probably original and lasted 19 years. I couldn't ask for anything more than that, but it's been a problem the whole time since I had the car. And now I know why I was getting intermittent misfires because this had a crack in it and now it finally blew itself through. So do this, or if you have a grab bag of little stuff, make your own. But right now, I'm going to put some stuff together and make my own, throw it on the car, turn it on, and see if we clear those codes and take it for a drive.
All right, now that the job's over, let's turn it on and see if it works.
All right, so I just let the car run for a couple of seconds, and everything is looking perfect. No more misfires.
So the car is running better, and I turned it off so we can kind of hear. There's no more codes. Everything's cleared. I drove around the block. As you can see, the mass airflow sensor is getting the correct air in, and there's no more of that limp mode, which is helping me out. And I'm getting direct from this elbow. So the one that was in here kind of looked like a slinky. It was kind of had corrugated pieces up and down in it, and that's to break up the air. So now it just goes in, and with this hole in the air filter, I'm getting a little bit more airflow. I know I have to put a plate on here to get the hot air out, but it's going to be okay, and it's working way better than it did. And you could buy, I bought this plastic piece and this little two couplers. I think I spent like 15 bucks a while back and just never used it. So you can either do this or get the OEM.
You're gonna have to come out with the tow money, the mileage. You're gonna have to come out with letting your car sit at the dealership, getting a diagnostic, which is usually about 150, tow's about 150. Then how you gonna get back and forth to work, school, or wherever you need to be? You might have to rent a car or give somebody money for gas. You're already looking at about $400, $500, and you didn't even get your car fixed.